I'm Rehana, co-founder of the Peoples March and Vote for the NHS. Marched 300 miles from Jarrow to Parliament last summer. The March for the NHS continues at Peoples Vote For NHS.org.uk. We're here today to launch the 7 days to save our NHS. As campaigners, we know regardless of the outcome of the general election next week, we have to continue to unite campaigners and ensure that we retain an NHS for future generations. But today is all about a simple message to everybody who is eligible to vote. We say, make sure you know what your track record of your local politician is. If they voted for the Health and Social Care Act, if they voted for Section 75, that's competition. If they voted for Clause 119, you know, what we say is they've voted to destroy our NHS, and it's time we handed them notice. And today's 7 days for the NHS that's what the campaign's about today.
Don't it always seem to go, but you don't know what you've got till it's gone, gone, gone. Save our NHS, 'cause we can't pay for the loss. Down, 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 down.
The People's Vote for the NHS. Thank you for coming today. We organised the People's March for the NHS. We marched from Jarrow. We turned up to London on the 6th of September last summer, and then we went to Tadriga, we've been to Bristol, we've been to Nottingham, and I'm telling you now, we did it in every town and city. We serve notice on all those politicians that voted to destroy our NHS, because it's our NHS. They did not have our permission to sell our NHS off, and that's why we are here today. We're saying, Mr. Hunt, you can hide, but in 7 days' time there will be an election. And the People's Vote for the NHS has a simple aim: just be informed. Think about where your politicians have voted. Did they vote for the Health and Social Care Act? Did they vote for Section 75? Did they vote for Clause 119? Well, I tell you what, we vote those politicians out. But next week, whatever the outcome, campaigners have to unite. We have to stand together. We have to save our NHS for future generations. And all I need to say is, thank you very much. Let's continue with the dying, and then we're going to hand in the petition. Yes. But do stand up if it's really cold. NHS!
Not for sale!
NHS!
Not for sale!
NHS! Who's NHS?
Our NHS!
Who's NHS?
Our NHS!
No ifs, no buts!
No NHS cops!
No ifs, no buts!
No NHS cops!
No ifs, no buts!
No NHS cops!
One more time. NHS!
Not for sale!
NHS!
Not for sale!
NHS!
Not for sale!
Who's NHS?
Our NHS!
Who's NHS?
Our NHS!
Who's NHS?
Our NHS!
No ifs, no buts!
No NHS cops!
No ifs, no buts!
No NHS cops!
No ifs, no buts!
No NHS cops!
Thanks very much.
So my name's Downie, I'm reporting here, and so we'll try and give you more information. Hashtag is NHS Critical. Follow at People's Voice, People's Vote NHS on Twitter. Also follow March for NHS on Twitter as well. And just keep on talking about the NHS. So
Time, more hospitals and A&Es closed. We'll see privatisation. We'll see the big American companies coming in under the guise of TTIP, and we will see then privatisation like we could only dreamt of before. That's why it's more important than ever before to vote Labour, because Labour will not only save us from all that, but Labour will begin to invest in the NHS again. We promised to recruit 8,000 new GPs, 20,000 new nurses, and more healthcare staff and midwives, just to relieve that pressure, and not just the acute sector. Obviously that's important to me because 2 of my A&Es are closing, but the GP primary sector as well. It's disgusting that particularly elderly people wait 2 or 3 weeks to see a GP, and we promise that nobody will wait more than 48 hours. This is the number one issue for this election. It's the number one issue both because Labour has to save the NHS, but also because a Conservative government, I believe, will destroy the NHS in 5 years.
Last week, DPAC had their national revenge tour against the Tories.
Yes, we did.
We went to Wirral West and to Chingford to show Esther McVeigh and IDS enough to austerity, enough to the cuts. Now I'm from South London. My trust and at South London NHS Trust was the first one to go into administration in 2012. But we are leading one hell of a fight back down there, and we've joined in with Lewisham to save our hospitals. 3 weeks ago, Bromley CCG approved the funding for the Health and Wellbeing Centre in Orpington. Orpington Hospital is under threat of closure. It's the only hydrotherapy pool in South East London. We're on course to lose it unless we fight for it. Tony Benn said, if we don't fight, we lose. These are your services. These are our doctors. This is our nurses. This is our NHS. On the 7th of May, you've got one vote. You've got one choice. Let's vote the Tories out. Let's save our NHS, not just for us, but for the people who come after us. Solidarity!
Don't it always seem to go, but you don't know what you've got till it's gone, gone, gone. Save our NHS, 'cause we can't pay for the loss. Down, 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 down. Late last night I heard an ambulance door slam. Down, 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 down. I hope the enemy that comes got a bed for my old man. Down, 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 down. Don't it always seem to go, but you don't know what you've got till it's gone, gone, gone. Save our NHS, 'cause we can't pay over the loss.
This represents 10,000 signatures over many cold months. 10,000 from Hammersmith and Fulham, 5,000 from Ealing over the cold winter months. It's a small measure of how important this NHS is to everybody, and we're now going to hand the petitions in. So let's get some chanting and then moving along. Who's NHS?
Our NHS.
Who's NHS?
Our NHS.
Who's NHS?
Down, 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 down. And charge all the people, critically just to see. Down, 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 down. Oh, don't it always seem to go, but you don't know what you've got till it's gone, gone, gone. Save our NHS, 'cause we can't pay for the loss. Down, 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 down. Hey, man, a judge, put your calculator now. Down, 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 down. You need a doctor to see and tell him I'm not a cash cow. Down, 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 down. Oh, don't it always seem to go, but you don't know what you've got till it's gone, gone, gone. Save our NHS, we can't pay for the loss.
No ifs, no buts, no NHS cuts. 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 No NHS cuts. No ifs, no buts, no NHS cuts.
No ifs, no buts, no NHS cuts.
The all choir of the NHS. What shall we do with Jeremy Hunt? What shall we do with Jeremy Hunt? What shall we do with Jeremy Hunt?
Okay, so as I was saying, so I'm Sam Downie. I'm broadcasting live here for the NHS demonstration taking place outside the Department of Health here in London. Today is April the 30th, 2015, and the hashtag you need to follow is NHS Critical on Twitter, or follow March for NHS on Twitter, and you'll find all the information. So last year, a huge march from Jarrow in northeast England to London took place, over 300 miles, and there was thousands upon thousands of people took part and marched together in stages to London, and it was a really fantastic thing to do. People came out in force to protect, to talk about the NHS. This is why we are doing it here today, and we need you to share this, so get the word out to people. Hashtag NHS Critical and follow March for NHS.
Don't it always seem to go, but you don't know what you've got till it's gone.
I just want to say, I must say, for dead people, you're quite noisy. I doubt they've ever seen anything quite like this in Department of Health. They better get used to it, because after next Thursday, all the cosy little mob who were in there, like Jeremy Hunt and all his acolytes, will be out. And we'll have a government, I hope it's a Labour government, but I hope we have a government, whoever it is, that actually cares about our NHS. And the only thing I want to say to you today is fantastic job for the 3 years we've been fighting. I know there are people from all over London here, but let me just say to the Ealing and the Hammersmith and the Charing Cross and the Central Mid campaigners, you really have put this on the map. You put this issue on the map, not just in West London, but across the whole country, because we know that what is planned and partly executed in West London is what they plan for the whole health service. So who would have thought 5 years ago that any government would say, let's close 4 A&Es down, let's knock 2 hospitals down, let's turn fantastic consultant services into basic primary care services, and then try and get up and defend that and use lies and smears to defend that. And what the Tories are now saying is, they're now saying, oh yeah, we are demolishing Charing Cross, yeah, we are demolishing that, we're going to build a brand new hospital on the site. What they don't say is, after we sold most of the land off to our developer mates, and when we're going to put in that hospital only the GP services and the day surgery, we're losing some of the best services, health services in the country. We cannot afford to let that happen. We owe that not just to the people in Fulham, but the people across West London and across this country, to make sure that hospital, Ealing Hospital, and every other hospital across London that is doing a desperate job. There's fantastic staff working against all the odds, and the thanks they get is redundancies, their services closed, and their hospitals run down. And I know that they support us here today. And the efforts of the Save Our Hospitals campaign across London and Maine have been the best campaign I've ever seen run politically, and we've made an impact. You walk down King Street, Hammersmith, you walk to Ealing Broadway now, and everybody knows the truth, despite the millions of pounds of propaganda that the NHS and the Tories have spent trying to persuade people of the opposite. That's down to you. That's down to all the people who stood out in the cold and the wet and indeed the hot sun for 3 years now. So let's keep fighting. We will go on fighting, whoever's in government, because we want to deliver on those promises. But the key point is, we know these people who've been running the Department of Health for the last 5 years don't care about the NHS.
Shame on them!
They don't care. They don't want it to be in the public sector. They want it to be in the private sector. They don't use the services themselves. They have to go. We have to save our hospitals. We have to save our NHS. That's what you've done a brilliant job on. But let's keep going for the next 7 days and beyond. Thank you very much.
Save our NHS, 'cause we can't pay for the loss. Down, 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 down. charge of the people, exactly just to scale. Oh, don't it always seem to go, but you don't know what you've got till it's gone, gone, gone. Save our NHS, 'cause we can't pay for the lot. Down, 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 down.
NHS,
Not for sale.
NHS,
Not for sale.
NHS!
not for sale.
NHS!
Not for sale.
NHS!
Not for sale.
Who's NHS?
Our NHS.
Who's NHS?
Our NHS.
Who's NHS?
Our NHS.
Who's NHS?
Our NHS.
No ifs, no buts.
No NHS cuts.
No ifs, no buts.
No NHS cuts.
No ifs, no buts.
No NHS cuts.
NHS!
Not for sale.
NHS!
Not for sale.
NHS.
Not for sale.
Who's NHS?
Our NHS.
Who's NHS?
Our NHS. Down, 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 down.
Hope the enemy becomes not a head from my old man.
Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's